history remembers moments that are loud, moments that change everything in an instant. But not every important event announces itself forever. Some events arrive suddenly, cause real concern, trigger official responses, and then, quietly, begin to fade. Not erased, not denied, just slowly forgotten. This is the story of an American event that didn't vanish overnight, but slowly disappeared from memory. At the time, it didn't feel forgettable. The event disrupted normal life. Authorities responded quickly. Systems were activated. There were restrictions, emergency actions, official involvement. For a brief moment, attention focused on what was happening. People talked about it. Local coverage reported on it. Officials acknowledged it. It was real. It mattered. And it demanded action. What followed was swift and organized. Agencies coordinated. Procedures were followed. Statements were issued. From the outside, it appeared controlled. The public was reassured that the situation was being handled. There was no need for panic, no ongoing danger. Everything seemed to move efficiently, almost too efficiently. And that efficiency created an assumption that the story would continue, that answers would come, that explanations would follow. But they didn't. After the initial response, something changed. Updates became less frequent. Details stopped expanding. Follow-up coverage slowed. Questions remained, but were no longer addressed publicly. Officials didn't deny the event. They didn't retract statements. They simply stopped talking about it. The absence of information wasn't dramatic. It wasn't sudden. It was gradual and almost unnoticeable at first. Time has a way of shifting focus. New headlines appeared. New events demanded attention. Public interest moved elsewhere. Without new updates, the story faded from conversation, not because it was resolved, but because it was no longer visible. No reminders, no anniversaries, no official revisits. The event remained part of history, but only quietly. The record still existed. Reports were filed. Documents were archived. References remained, but scattered. Nothing was completely erased, but nothing was emphasized either. Without summaries, without explanations, without public discussion, the event became harder to access and harder to remember. Not all events are forgotten by accident. Some don't fit clear narratives. Some lack dramatic conclusions. Some raise questions without easy answers. History tends to favor clarity. When an event doesn't offer that, it often fades quietly into the background, not because it wasn't important, but because it didn't leave a clear ending. There's a difference between history and memory. History records events. Memory decides which ones remain visible. This event still exists in records, but not in public awareness. It wasn't erased. It wasn't rewritten. It was simply left behind. Today, few people remember this event, not because it never happened, but because it slowly slipped out of view. The response was real. The concern was real. The impact was real. But without closure, without explanation, and without continued attention, silence took its place. And that is how an American event didn't disappear all at once, but slowly disappeared from memory. Some events don't end with answers. They end with silence.